Nick Chubb is one of those guys to me that fits a lot of those boxes that I'm looking for in the backfield, because we know Nick Chubb is, man. Nick Chubb, when healthy, let's preface it right. We got to preface when healthy. But Nick Chubb, when healthy, man, it's all world. It's the top 3 back in the NFL, man. No questions asked about that. And we've seen that from Nick Chubb specifically when he's been healthy, specifically in his time in Cleveland, which has been crazy because it's Cleveland we talking about. But it's been plenty of times that we would look at Cleveland and we're saying to ourselves, man, you got to worry about Nick Chubb. You got to worry about his vision. You got to worry about his ability to get in and out of his cuts, his contact balance, his overall toughness. I mean, we obviously know he had the nasty knee injury when he was in college, but then to overcome that, sustain another nasty knee injury, obviously at the hands of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Jeez Louise, that was still a crazy scenario. But when I think of that, I'm like, man, this is another dude that had to battle back from that crazy, long, grueling rehab to come back and play in his first game and come right back to playing out here versus us, man. It was kind of crazy, man, to see, Nick Chubb do all of those things. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, when you're looking at Nick Chubb and you're looking at some of the injuries, it's like, yeah, that I can understand that making people a little bit skittish, a little bit hesitant about him. But what I will say is this, man. Since this dude is coming to the league, the production you really can't go against. Obviously, was second round pick in 2018. I mean, which when he's been healthy, all right, because we know these past 2 years, 2023 blew the knee out in the second game of the season. Like I said, that was the Minkah game. Played in 8 games last year before breaking his foot, but that was him coming back from the knee. All right. Still gave you 300 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had 1 receiving touchdown last year. All right. And that was crazy because some people thought he would never play again just based on how gruesome that injury was. I still can't believe it. I remember being there, man, my little guy sitting right next to me, we're watching the game. I was like, oh my God, like, this is nuts, man. But 2022, man, 1,500 rushing yards, 12 tutties. 2021, 1,200 rushing yards, 8 tutties. 2020, 1,000 rushing yards, 12 tutties. 2019, 1,400 rushing yards, dang near. He was 6 yards away from 1,500 rushing yards for the second time in his career, 8 tutties. And then his first year, 900 was 4 yards away from 1,000, 996, and he had 8 touchdowns. That's some crazy production. Now, it also puts in context, too, when you're talking about 4,000-yard seasons. Then you're looking at Chubb, 1,400, 1,000, 1,200, and then another 1,500. Yes, that is crazy in terms of when you're talking about that level, but that's also a reason why when we talk Nick Chubb, we say, yeah, that's a top 5 back in the NFL. We don't talk about Najee, with all due respect, as a top 5 running back. I think they're 2 different class of backs, but I do like the durability. I do like the fact that Najee is still in range. It ain't like we talking about Najee in 700, 700, 800, 800. No. We know he's been in the vicinity. All right, but Chubb is Chubb. Chubb is that dude for a reason, and he's been like that for a long time when healthy. But emphasis on the health part. Like I talked about, that knee injury was big, but he was able to come back from it. Then obviously, you break the foot this past season. That does suck as well. Part of me believes that, just understanding how recoveries go, how your body works when you're coming back from a major injury at one thing, when you overcompensate at other parts, and sometimes you do it subconsciously, right? You're not even intentionally going about it and saying, man, I'm trying to put more weight on this. I'm trying to protect this side. Sometimes it just happens. And that leads to some of the stress. That leads to some of the things, occurring that puts you in a position where you are at a higher probability to be compromised by injury. So I do look at that, and I do have some of my personal concerns of, or personal feelings about, I think that was just a part of that. And it's not him becoming injury prone at this stage of his career, because throughout his professional career, I mean, the dude's been relatively healthy. Like I said, man, 17 games, 14 games, 12 games, 16 games, 16 games. It's like you're playing in a lot of football games, especially at one of the most violent positions on the field. But I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I know Nick Chubb and Jalen Warren could work. I ain't tripping on that. But I'm trying to think who's my third back. Like, I see Jay Farrell asking about, would it be a combo of Najee, Jalen Warren, and Nick Chubb? I don't know. Me personally, I don't think Najee would like that. unless the numbers made sense from a cash standpoint. I mean, if you're going to pay Naj, 10 mil, I think that he's open to whatever type of backfield you want to run, right? Committee or not. But at the same time, it's like if you're the Steelers, would you want to pay Naj 10 if you're going to bring him into a committee with a Nick Chubb who, when healthy, we're like, Nick Chubb when healthy is the guy. It's just, he got to stay healthy right now, right? And we know he's working on that recovery for multiple things, man. But that's part of it. Now, the other part is this. Do you believe Nick Chubb still has juice like that? When you start talking about lower body injuries to running backs a little bit later, in the career. And the reason why I say a little bit later is because with Nick Chubb, he'll be 30 in December. All right. So that's the other part. He's 29 right now. But his birthday is December 27th. So it'd be the end of the season. So that's the other part where you're just like, do you feel like he still has enough juice? Do you feel like he still can give you the high end production or at least get back close to some of that high level production that we saw and we became super accustomed to seeing with Nick Chubb? Because he became like the premier version of just a true running back, right? We would say, man, Saquon is like the human, highlight reel, joystick, that type of vibe, man. He could do it all, right? Start, stop is just wow factor. We said with Derrick Henry, man, that's the big just mutant at running back. Defining characteristic is size and he can run. He's an 18-wheeler. Then you talked about, obviously, Christian McCaffrey. And we're like, oh, yeah, he's more that Saquon vibe where he's just different. He just got juice in him. But we was like, man, in terms of pure running back, like the old school, like that's a RB. That's what it's supposed to look like. That's the true, just old school style. Yeah, that's Nick Chubb, man. Nick Chubb is dot back or running back right behind the quarterback or the fullback, and we giving him that ball downhill 20 plus times and let him cook. That is Nick Chubb's game. Does that fit Arthur Smith's scheme? 1,000% it does. I mean, who doesn't want a running back that, can do all those things and has the juice to take it the full distance, man? Yeah, that definitely, presents a lot of intrigue to me. And I also think that at this stage, Nick Chubb, you're not breaking the bank on him either. I don't know how cheap it is, but it's cheap. It's a lot cheaper than what it was. I'll tell you that. It was a lot cheaper than what it was 2 years ago. And when you add that exchange, I'm like, hey, bro, I can get you for a little cheaper now, man. So I do like that. And that's the part where it's like, yeah, man, if I'm just going, down the list of alternative routes, if I'm going down the list of ways that we could add to that running back room, there are a lot worse ways I could go than signing Nick Chubb is what I'm basically saying, man. So I do like that. And I do think, like I said, man, he would be intriguing. Man, y'all let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about Nick Chubb, though. Excuse me. If that's one of the guys that, for you guys, you would be open to him, joining the Steelers. I know he's been in that nasty Browns situation over there, man. But we've had some success on former Browns coming over here. I remember Joe Hayden. All right. This is a great sign. Shout out to Joe, man. Jump, man. All right. But let me know how y'all feel about him, man. Jason King said if it's cheap, he likes him. And I'm with you. If it's cheap for the right price, Nick Chubb with Jaylen Warren, I mean, shoot. Like I said, I don't know if Najee is back in that convo or not, but whoever the third alternative is, I see that a little bit, man. Okay. Cody James seems like he's not on the Nick Chubb vibe. All right. He says, I love Chubb too. Man, respect to him, but just not worth it right now. And that's fair, man. That is fair. Anytime you start talking lower body injuries to some of these running backs, man, that can be one of them taboo things of like, nah, I'm good. But we've also seen when he's been healthy, and we've obviously have played against it as well. And it's like, hey, bro, why we got to deal with that one? Right? All right. Connor says Chubb would be a good signing if they also bring in a rookie. Now, that to me, I would agree with. If you're going to move on from Najee and we're bringing in Nick Chubb and Caleb Johnson, or Nick Chubb and Amarion Hampton, Nick Chubb and Travion Henderson, I think any of that as the three-man weave, that type of convo, I love. I think I got my veteran leader, a guy that is used to being on the mountaintop at that position, who we obviously just want to get back healthy. You got Jaylen Warren, who we're excited about, and now we're basically saying, hey, you have to make this work, man. We're turning it over to you. We want you to be the lead of the three. And then whoever the young rookie is that we bringing in, hey, man, get ready to get used. All right. We're going to need you. We're going to put you in some positions for you to grow. And you're going to be behind two dudes that to varying levels are established, but also, hey, it's an open door. We ain't against you beating both of these dudes though either. I'm down for all of that. And I think that we can accomplish that as well, man. But like I said, man, Nick Chubb, man, to me is definitely a guy that I'm open to, man. All right, let me see what else I had to say about Nick Chubb, though. Let me see. Somber said he's okay for a committee, and especially for the right price. The right price is key, man. Because like I said, the injuries are what did it for me. You know, when I'm thinking about who Nick Chubb was and who he currently is, I think that's two different things. But at the same time, seeing what he was able to do when he came back this year from the injury, the same way we talk about some of these other position players, man, when they come back from injury, and it's like that first year back is always the toughest year. I am eager to see what it looks like for him with this offseason, man. Healthy and let's go. You know what I mean? But we obviously still gonna be rehabbing, all right? Because he did, I want to say broke the foot probably like I said, a couple games after he came back, so we do know that part of it. But like I said, man, we will see. The health is key, though, man. Health is key with Nick Chubb, man. Alrighty. But y'all hit that like button one time for the coach. And don't forget to subscribe either if you are new to the channel.